Imagine coming into the biggest game of your career. Something you worked your entire life for. And out of nowhere. Hold up, we can't just start things that crazy. We'll get to that. First, let's talk about Ronaldo's biggest fan. Cause what this kid does isn't even legal. And it all started after Ronaldo's 2009 transfer to Real Madrid. At the time, a boy named Shanta was just a little kid with big dreams. And being a huge football fan, right when he laid his eyes on Ronaldo's highlights, his supermodel girlfriends, and supercars, it was love at first sight. And Shanta vowed to become exactly like his idol. But that's when things started getting weird. Cause this kid literally paid for surgery to become Ronaldo's twin. He bought every single kit Ronaldo wore, and he even took trips wherever Ronaldo played. But at first I thought, hey, this kid's just a super fan of the biggest athlete on the planet. Until I found out, every single day, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., he showed up to Real Madrid's training ground and waited just for a chance to see Ronaldo. So eventually, they met. And at first Ronaldo thought Shanta was just a normal fan, so they took some pics. But what he didn't know was this kid was insane. Cause he literally changed his name to Shanta Ronaldo. He started posting Instagram pics the exact same way as Ronaldo. And he even forced his own brother to look like Ronaldo Jr. How is nobody scared of this? Cause lately, Shanta's been trying out for pro teams, and he's aiming for the world to see a Ronaldo vs Ronaldo matchup in the 2022 World Cup. So if I were Cristiano, you know, the real Ronaldo, I'd do something before things get deadly. Like the time Samuel Eto'o spent $25 million on something that kills people. See, back in 2015, Samuel wanted to celebrate his legendary career buying a new crib. And I'm not talking about one like mine, where the water and electricity don't work. This man needed 40 rooms, a swimming pool, and enough land to throw a bigger party than Project X. But Samuel should have done his research, cause after he sealed the deal on this Italian villa, it turned into his worst nightmare. When Samuel was moving in, he was warned about the curse. Cause this was the ex-home of an infamous archaeologist. And this dude, he was built different. Cause he never followed the rules. So when he heard about a way to curse the land he lived on, he really went and uncovered a pharaoh's tomb. And listen, I know what you're thinking, like, why the hell am I learning about mummies and not football players? Just bear with me, bro, cause this is where things get scary. Just a few weeks later, in this very house, the archaeologist and his nephew died. So it was obvious, the curse followed them into the house. But Samuel wasn't just gonna let some rumor hold him back from his dream home. So he moved in. But it didn't take long for him to lose his mind. And the only explanation was whatever was happening in the house. Cause out of nowhere, Samuel threatened his club with a lawsuit if they didn't let him move to another country. So they granted his wish, and Samuel fled to Turkey, escaping the nightmare. But I don't know what's scarier, living in a haunted house or Luka Modric's childhood. Cause before his 7th birthday, he almost died. Back in 1985, Modric was born in a small village of Yugoslavia, where his parents were so poor, his mom and dad had no choice but to work all day in a factory. And even then, buying food or showering with running water was a luxury. So eventually, they forced Modric to move in with his grandpa. But that's where things got way worse. Every single day, Modric grew up in fear of even walking outside, cause he was living right in the middle of an all-out war. Modric couldn't even sleep at night, but he still had faith that one day he'd make it out. And it was all cause his grandpa told him that he was special and motivated him to chase his dreams. But despite them living in fear for years, these two bonded, herding cattle and goats, and when it was safe, hunting in the fields or fishing. So when Modric was 6 years old, he was actually happy. One day, he was kicking around a football, and he just couldn't wait for Grandpa to get home. But as the hours went on, he never showed up. Cause it turned out, when Grandpa was walking home, and just a block away, the rebels pulled up. The entire village was under attack. So Dad raced to save Modric, and they fled to a hotel. But the whole time, Modric didn't even know what happened. Like, where was Grandpa? And that's when Dad told him, Grandpa was gone. But Modric knew the show had to go on. So right then and there, he committed to practicing football in the hotel's parking lot. Cause Modric knew it was completely up to him to find his family a way out. So he spent his entire childhood focused on one goal, going pro for Grandpa. And fast forward to here in 2021, Modric not only did it, he's become one of football's greatest midfielders and worth over 75 million. But he gives all the credit to Grandpa. I just wish Andres Escobar's story had the same happy ending, cause what happened in 1994 became one of football's scariest scandals. Now at first, Andres was invited to play in the world's biggest sports event, and getting an opportunity like this to represent his country was something he imagined as a kid. But maybe he should have had a different dream, cause this turned into the biggest mistake of his life. At the time, Andres and Colombia had extremely high expectations, cause they only lost one of their last 26 games. So going up against Romania, Colombia decided to take things easy. And well... So the very next game against the United States was a must-win, cause they didn't want to let down an entire country. But typically the game isn't on Andres' shoulders, cause as a defender, his job wasn't to score goals. He needed to stop them. But it turned out, Andres lost focus and forgot why he was even out there. Cause in the 34th minute... bro? That's the wrong goal! From this point on, Colombia was completely deflated. And cause they lost that match, all from that one goal, they were eliminated. So Andres instantly became a public enemy, and he was told to stay low-key. But the very next day, Andres put a statement in the newspaper, and he said, life doesn't end here. We have to go on. And he thought the statement would settle everything, but it made the situation even worse. Cause a few days later, Andres went out with his friends, bar hopping. And with the music blasting, the drinks were flowing, so things were getting lit. But around 3 a.m., Andres decided to walk out to the parking lot. And that's when he saw them. I don't think they were trying to see if he subbed to the channel. Now, Andres' murder didn't go unanswered, cause that very night, the shooter confessed his crime, and he was sentenced to 43 years behind bars. Can't compare to what fans did to Neymar, cause what started back in 2017 scarred him for life. At the time, Neymar was rising to one of football's greatest players, but some fans just couldn't accept it. So when Neymar was blessed with the opportunity to play for PSG, that was the final straw. And coming into just his 8th match with the club, Neymar was preparing to go up against PSG's arch rivals. And these fans were something else, man. Cause for weeks, they had this date on their calendar circled, and throughout the game, Neymar was doing what he does best. So coming down to the final minutes, the fans had to throw him off his game. Literally. Imagine doing all of that, and your team doesn't even win! So Neymar's enemies knew they needed to get more creative, and that's where things got way worse. Cause here in 2021, Neymar came into a heavily anticipated matchup, and during the 62nd minute, he had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win the game. So the fans just couldn't let this happen. And they didn't just create a distraction, they tried to ruin Neymar's life. Hold up, do you realize how dangerous that was? It only takes laser pointers half a second to cause vision loss. So Neymar literally could have been blinded. But even all of that can't compare to the stories footballers never talk about. Cause all your favorite players have been keeping secrets. So click this video right here.